Hey, thanks so much for finding the video. Do us a favor. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. And be sure to leave your comment. We love to interact. Enjoy the video. The LSU 2021 football schedule, the entire SEC football schedule for 2021 has been released. So we knew who LSU was going to play. We knew where they were going to play these games. What we didn't know is when, the order. And if you've ever heard me at any point ever talk about schedules, I always say, yes, who you play matters. It's important. But when and where you play them matters also. We have this conversation every year with the Saints, right? You're a dome team with an aging quarterback. Outdoor games in November and December in cold weather environments, not great. If you go to Buffalo in September, way better than Buffalo in December, right? You get it. So we take a peek at LSU's schedule. We know they're going to open up in the Rose Bowl against UCLA on September the 4th. They'll come home for back-to-back non-conference games against McNeese, Central Michigan. They're on the road at Mississippi State to open SEC play and close out September. Flip the calendar to October, home against Auburn, at Kentucky, home against Florida, at Ole Miss. So a 4 SEC game October. You have, of course, your open date at the end of October before you go to Bama. And then you finish with Arkansas, ULM, and Texas A&M. So back-to-back-to-back home games to round out the schedule there in November. So a few observations here on the schedule. First of all, and mostly, I am just really excited to start thinking about the possibility of a full, normal football season. Yesterday, we got word that SEC Media Days is going to go on, and the dates have been set for the Winfrey Hotel, the Hyatt Regency Winfrey Hotel there in Hoover, Alabama. And now we get the full schedule. And we can start thinking about LSU going to Pasadena to take on UCLA. By the way, Chip Kelly and the Bruins, I'm not sure if you noticed, but they really started playing well last year. It's going to be an interesting challenge for year 3 under Chip Kelly there at UCLA to see if he starts, if he sort of hits that growth spurt in year 3. Come home for your home opener against McNeese. Of course, these two teams were supposed to open the season in 2015. The weather delay, that game got canceled, as you might recall. This is really interesting because Frank Wilson is the head coach, and Cody Orgeron is the starting quarterback, meaning Ed Orgeron is going to coach against his son. A week later, Central Michigan comes in, and their coach is Jim McElwain. So the former Florida coach and Shark Humper is going to be in Tiger Stadium. You open up SEC play at Mississippi State. That's an interesting one to me because I just don't know how much better year 1 to year 2 they're going to be with Mike Leach. Certainly worth watching. And then you come home to play Auburn, which hasn't won in Baton Rouge since 1999. Of course, year 1 under Brian Harsin. They're going to have a lot of turnover there. It's just going to look very different than what we expect with Auburn with Gus Malzahn. Probably one of those deals where you'd rather catch Auburn early than late. New coach, you'd expect him to be playing better late in the season, kind of like Mississippi State did. I mean, they clipped LSU in week 1, and then they just face-planted until they started playing better later in the year. But that October stretch is the gauntlet. That's the meat grinder. You always look on the schedule and go, okay, where's the stretch that you got to navigate? It's very likely even that LSU starts 4-0. I'm interested to see how the UCLA game would go, but still, LSU should be 4-0. And we said that this past year, understanding. But let me put it this way. They're going to be favored in their first 4 games. And then you play Auburn, at Kentucky, Florida, at Ole Miss. So you flip-flop away, home, or in October, home, away. But that Kentucky game is the one that gives me pause. Mark Stoops is a really good coach, as we know, and LSU has not played at Kentucky since 2007. The last time LSU played there, they lost there in triple overtime. And where you look at where that falls on the schedule, at Kentucky is right between home games against Auburn and Florida. So if you were ever going to look for the sandwich spot, the trap game, whatever you want to call it, that's it. It's the trip to Kentucky on October the 9th. So we'll kind of circle that one, and then they'll wrap up October at Ole Miss. So that's going to be your 5th consecutive week against 5 consecutive SEC opponents, and you wrap up going to Ole Miss to take on Lane Kiffin in year 2. So we saw what they did offensively this year. That's another one where you go, man, Ole Miss catches LSU at a good spot, considering that's the 5th consecutive SEC week. Then LSU gets the bye, goes to Bama, then finishes with Arkansas, ULM, and Texas A&M. A couple of things that I really like. I love that LSU doesn't go back-to-back road conference games at any point. Yes, they go back-to-back at Ole Miss, at Bama, but you've got the bye in between. So it's not consecutive weeks where you're going to go and have road conference games. So that is thumbs up for LSU. I also like ULM in November. Every other team walking the face of planet Earth gets the layup game before they play their traditional rivalry game. They get the FCS opponent or the garbage opponent that they get to play, and LSU too often has 4 SEC games in November, all backfilling from Bama and ending with A&M. That's not a great way to finish a season. I would rather have that ULM game in there as a breather if you need it before you play Texas A&M at home. And remember, ULM is now coached by Terry Bowden. Their offensive coordinator is Rich Rodriguez. So the non-conference games, even McNeese, Central Michigan, and ULM, all have interesting storylines to them. So I like the schedule a lot, man. I think it as good as it can play in your favor when you've got to play Florida every year and you got Bama on the schedule every year. I think this one looks pretty good, and more than anything, I'm just really excited about the prospects of having a full season, 12 games, to have fans in the stands, and think about what that might be like, sort of a normal football season there in 2021. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.